Okay, just got done seeing Aquaman.
Yes.
And I'm just going to start off by saying that DC's got a hit on its hands. This is a really good movie. I liked it. Didn't you?
It was like, you know what I thought was kind of cool about it? Well, one, the imagery is amazing.
Yeah,
Jason Momoa is really cool in the title role. I also thought, I thought it was cool that they kind of went with the inherent cheesiness of the premise.
Yeah.
And
made it up. Yeah, just brought what
So it's fun. It's cheesy, but it's fun cheesy.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, it's weird. It gets extremely epic. It gets to a point where the scale just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. The creatures are so big, they're Godzilla level.
Yeah.
All right. And it's happening underneath the water, and they're flying through it, and it's on technology, and they're riding sharks and submarines armored seahorses and
everything's like bioluminescent.
Yeah, ships that look like what do you call them? Portuguese man of wars. What you have basically kind of like the story of Superman, and it's taking place in a Flash Gordon style world.
I was reminded of Flash Gordon several times
because under the sea is kind of like space.
Yeah.
And the Atlanteans have a lot of technology. They also took a lot of ideas from Conan.
Yeah.
Of course, Momoa played Conan, and in one scene in this movie, he takes a trident from a dead Atlantean king, and that king passes it on to him. He's got the magic trident. Well, that's right out of Conan the Barbarian, where Conan goes into a tomb of an Atlantean king and takes his sword. So they did a lot of good, epic callbacks to other great movies. And the movie's kind of serving like a Star Wars movie.
I thought of that too. Kind of like when a
Star Wars movie and a Flash Gordon movie. Splash Gordon. I already want to see the sequel because they set up a sequel already, and they got to do a sequel because
supervillain.
Yeah, and the way that they've laid out this particular story, there's a lot of potential because what's the undersea is a vast region, so a lot of shit could happen as they develop that particular series. Now, on the back of this, I really would like to see Jason Momoa do a reboot of Conan, a good one.
He would be a good Conan.
Yeah, it wasn't his he was Conan.
Oh, that's right.
He played Conan, I believe, in that reboot. I think that was him.
I didn't see the reboot.
Problem with that one was the script. I didn't really like it. But with what's possible today, you could actually reboot that and get a much better Conan.
Yeah.
And I'd also like to, on the back of this, I'd like to see him do the Dino De Laurentiis style Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
Imagine if they did, with today's technology, that old Flash Gordon, and I would like it to be almost kind of like R-rated.
Yeah.
Or really heavy PG, because that one Flash Gordon had a lot of sexual undertones to it, and so did the original Flash Gordon series. Overtones, yeah. And the original was like that. That was true to the source material. But good movie, storytelling was good. There were certain times where it gets so epic and it almost kind of becomes a little too much.
That's what I meant about it.
Aquaman.
That's what I meant about it leading into
they just leaned into this shit.
Because it knows.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's an inherently ridiculous premise. It's Atlanta is real. Atlantis is real. There's 7 kingdoms.
7 kingdoms.
And they have vastly superior technology to the surface world.
The government's keeping a secret.
Right, and all this other kind of stuff. So, like I said, it seemed kind of cool that they just decided we're just going to go in this ridiculously epic direction, and I thought it worked. I mean, I think it worked because Jason Momoa playing Aquaman is a very down to earth character. I mean, he's lived on the surface world. He doesn't want to go back to Atlantis and be king and stuff. So he's kind of like a schlubby. He's just kind of around on the land.
Dude that big is not slubby.
No, but I mean, personality-wise, where he's
he didn't really care about it.
I don't want to get involved. I'm just going to sit in the bar and drink with my dad and all this other kind of stuff, and don't bother me with it.
Well, he was still kind of a man of the sea in a way. He just wanted to be immortal.
So I think he was kind of like the thing that anchored it and made it seem not so. But like I said, they obviously did that on purpose, and I think it actually worked. I think it was pretty entertaining.
For the most part, I just don't like superhero movies. I don't really like the Marvel ones. I just think it's over.
They're all right.
But this one, I think, has a lot of potential because
go DC. They haven't been doing so good, but actually this one was.
This one was a good one, and with this, you could do what Star Wars does. You could do what Flash Gordon does. You could make 5 of these movies, probably make a lot of money.
I would love to see a movie about the Kingdom of the Brine.
Yeah.
With the big giant crab monsters.
Yeah.
And I would also like to see one about those trench monsters.
Yeah, the trench monster people.
That was the coolest part to me because, you know, I love scary shit. So it's like I really liked that part where they had to go with the trench and there were all the creatures.
Yeah, they just set up
on the boat.
They just set up a good universe. You could make an entire series on this, the same way Star Wars did.
Yeah, because there's, like I said, there's 7 kingdoms. They only really had a couple scenes each.
Yeah, they just kind of laid it out that there's a lot of shit down there.
Yeah, and that they have to go and there's like all these alliances between this one and that one. So yeah, there's a lot of places they could go with this. And I guess if it's a hit, they probably will. They'll expand this.
This is going to be a hit. I can't see how this is not going to be.
Yeah, I can't see how this. But this seems a very crowd-pleasing type of movie.
I think DC knocked it out of the park with this one. As long as they make the sequel good, then they'll do a good job with it.
Yeah, actually, I really enjoyed it, and it was really full. It's Christmas Eve, you guys.
Yeah, crowd loved it. Okay, just got done from seeing The Favorite.
Yes.
Which is a period piece court intrigue placed in the 1700s. It was about kind of the court of Queen Anne. I don't know if this is actually the historical Queen Anne or not. I have no idea how historical this was, but the acting was good and the sets were really cool. It takes place in a real palace.
Yes.
Costumes look good and everything like that. Very much along the lines, I would probably say, it reminded me a lot of Dangerous Liaisons.
I was just going to say, yeah, if you like Dangerous Liaisons, you will be super, super into this, which I really like that.
Yeah, kind of like a touch of Amadeus thrown in there.
I thought of that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things that I've always noticed about kind of stereotypical concepts of the 17 and 1800s is that it was always, they kind of show it as a kind of a prudish past, and Surf Material says, no, fuckers was off the chain. And they were off the chain in this movie. It's about two women trying to get as much leverage and influence over the queen as possible. And just everything was on the table, including like seduction and all kinds of weird shit. So, but you know, one of the women in the stories was a noblewoman that lost all of her land and her power, and she ends up being employed in the palace and tries to work her way up through the ranks with the means that a woman has at her on hand, you know.
That's a good way of putting it.
Of course, there are other women trying to stop her, and you know, the men and everything. And one of the things I do like about the movie is it kind of showed that you know how much power women actually had in those old courts.
Yeah.
And it probably goes all the way back to ancient Egypt and ancient Greece about how much power rich women actually had in those courts.
Because they're smart and wily.
Yeah, and they had a lot of leverage over the men too.
Yeah,
you know. I'd recommend the movie. I think that the ending was a little weak, I thought, but
it was kind of weird. It was a symbolic ending. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. But other than that, you know, I enjoyed it. What'd you think?
I did too. I really liked it a lot. Like, I mean, Dangerous Liaisons in its many iterations. Like, I read the play, and you know, and I've seen like a bunch of different versions of it, and that's probably one of my favorite movies ever. And and Amadeus is also one of my favorite movies ever. So, if you like those two movies, I would really recommend this one. It's very, like, other than being, like, really beautiful and, like, the acting is really amazing, it's actually really funny. Like, all of the, you know, because all the quips they make with one another, that's all this, like, barbed wit and everything. Yeah. It's, like, very, very, very amusing.
Yeah, and very gritty.
There's a lot of weird shit going on in this, you know what I mean? But honestly, I think that's probably more historically accurate than ones that have everybody all proper and everything. Yeah,
like they were bad. Yeah. Just read Desaad. That was from that time.
Yeah, they're bad. Some terrible people. Yeah. And like kind of trying to, you know, like I said, trying to take advantage of the queen, but then it turns out that she's probably not so easily taken advantage of. I think she knew what was going on the whole time. She had some problems. But, you know.
I wouldn't quite call her crazy, but she wasn't in the greatest mental health, I would say.
Nor the greatest physical health either. So yeah.
And like I said, I have no idea how historical this was. It was probably not historical. But it was a good story.
It was a really good story. And like I said, if you dig Dangerous Liaisons, you'll really dig this. It's actually really, really funny, really, really good. I really enjoyed it very much.
Yeah. All right. All right, we just got done seeing, what was it called? Holmes, right?
Holmes and
Watson. Yeah, what are the name of these guys that did this?
It's John C. Reilly and Will Farrell.
Yeah.
Who also did, obviously, Step Brothers and Talladega Nights.
Yeah.
Only one of the, I think I saw Step Brothers a long time ago, but I don't remember much.
It's a zany comedy. I liked the first half of it. And then it took a weird turn in the story where Holmes starts accusing Watson of being the main suspect.
Yeah.
And it kind of threw me out of it. It started to get kind of negative. The way it was in the the first 2/3 of the movie, I really liked the edit. I liked the what do you call it? Like the tone of the movie.
Yeah.
But then they came in with that kind of that weird twist.
Yeah.
Where they threw him into prison. And then it goes into almost a romantic musical for a few scenes.
Sort of, yeah, for a few minutes.
And that fucking threw me out of it. And then they hit you with like 3 or 4 real like negative political messages about unfair pay and guns and electoral college shit. And I'm like, man, it's just too contemporary. And then it tries to recover and kind of get that same tone that it had in the first 2/3. But I never really could get back into it. The humor all kind of feel sour and flat to me after that.
Yeah.
It was almost kind of like it was made by 2 different people. Like somebody did the first 2/3 and somebody else finished it off, and then they just ended the movie. It didn't have a uniform tone.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just me. I listened to the audience. The audience was thrown out of it too. A lot of them. They stopped laughing.
Yeah, I think the funniest. I mean,
the funniest stuff was all in the first 2/3.
If you saw Step Brothers and Talladega Nights, this is the same type of humor. You know, it's kind of like dumb, like slapstick type stuff, but they had some funny shit. There was like some funny like references to other movies and stuff, which I'm not sure a lot of people picked up on. But there was a lot of that going on.
I thought the first 2/3 was hilarious.
The first half or the first 2/3 of it was pretty funny. But like you say, it was still kind of funny at the end.
It just kind of.
But it wasn't quite as. It kind of went off.
It's almost like somebody stepped in and said, "Let me finish this movie."
Yeah.
And kind of just cobbled a finish together, and it was like, look, we had all these little paid advertisements that we had to do, and so let's just talk about this. We have to talk about this, and let's just wrap up the movie. It really felt like it was made by 2 different people.
Yeah, maybe.
But I liked that first 2/3 of it. I thought it was fucking funny, but the rest of it was just kind of going like. Kind of overstayed its welcome. As soon as it went into the musical thing, I was like, nah, I'm through with this.
That could have been funny, but it wasn't as funny as it could have been.
No, and then I noticed that like all the steam got pulled out of the audience. People stopped laughing. And then it was like, it stopped. It was only, and then...
I should say that it's like I said, I don't read reviews of stuff before I go to see them. But when I'm, going and like making the, reservation for the movie, sometimes I'll see like headlines about it, and this is getting like terrible reviews.
Oh, it is?
Like most people saying just like it's just not funny. It's just not. But like I said, the first part of it was funny. I think maybe that's what people are talking about. That maybe. It had like a lot of funny parts in the beginning. And
then it just, that musical number, when it went negative like that, it just sucked all the energy out of it to me. I was like, this is not a friendly movie.
Like I said, that could have been done well, but I don't think they pulled it off completely.
Right. It was a bad edit and some bad decisions. They should have kept it just lighthearted fun to the whole thing, like a buddy picture. And to have him turn on him like that, it just made the movie... mean-spirited. I felt it was like, wait a minute, he's turning on his buddy?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, come on, you know what I mean? And then, like I said, then there was rapid succession of negative messages came at you.
I can understand what they were doing, because I think the whole point of the character of, Will Farrell, Sherlock Holmes, is that he's an idiot who thinks he's, like, really smart. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, Watson was not the killer, but it's like the fact that he thought he was, and he was a big, brilliant genius for figuring that out. So I can see how they could have done that well, but I don't know. They didn't do it that well.
I think it is. I just don't like to overanalyze things in terms of like try to over-rationalize. What happened was that it was a funny movie, and then there was a rapid succession of negative messages. Boom, 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 which killed the movie.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Yeah.
It's like they turned on each other. He goes to prison. All right. Fucking women aren't paid as much. There's guns in America. Electoral college. This is a dictatorship. And it's just, wait a minute, hold on, wait. And it happened within like a 4-minute period.
Yeah.
And then the movie couldn't recover after that because it sucked the fun It was a positive movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So they threw negative humor in there, and it couldn't recover.
Yeah.
That's what I think happened.
Yeah.
But other than that, man, I just don't know who. It felt like it was directed by two different people.
Yeah.
It wasn't a total loss though, man. That first 2/3 of it, I was like, yeah, this is a pretty fun movie. And then
it was funny. It reminded me a little bit of that Mr. Bean one, though.
Yeah.
Kind of the same kind of
Yeah, and then it cut its nuts off.
Yeah.
Everything that was good about it, it just erased it.
Yeah.